In what a lot of people would consider to be a bizarre turn of events for a Nintendo Direct, Shigeru Hot Stuff Miyamoto revealed that the cast of the animated Super Mario Bros. Movie would feature big A-list celebrities, including Chris Pratt and Charlie Day as Mario and Luigi. Most people seem to be pretty excited about this, but there is a big chunk of the Mario fanbase who just won't accept anyone who's not Charles Martinet, because the guy did voice Mario for over 2 decades, which I totally understand. But at the same time, I'm pretty sure this cast is gonna hit a home run, and if you give me like 5 minutes, I'll explain why. Okay, so right off the bat, I know there's a few people out there who are mad about Pratt because they don't like the church that he goes to, and I'm not about to open up that can of worms here, but to sum my thoughts up on that issue real quick, let's just say that I don't think the guy took the role of Mario just so he could say, "So long, Gay Bowser."
So long, Gay Bowser. So long, Gay Bowser. So long, Gay Bowser. So long, Gay Bowser.
As far as preferring the tried and true actor that we all know and love and are so used to hearing, though, I totally get the attachment, and to be right there in the front lines of the angry mob if Nintendo took him out of the next Mario game or something. But while I love me some Martinet every time Mario and Luigi jump, I kinda think hearing him carry dialogue for 90 minutes straight would get annoying pretty quick. I mean, there's a very big difference between doing voices for characters in games where story's by far the least important aspect and trying to have a range of different emotions that you'd need for the kind of movie that people would universally enjoy everywhere. Besides, one big reason why Mario's speaking lines have always been so limited in games in the first place is because Nintendo's always tried to keep them as universal as possible so that anybody could just pick them up and play regardless of what language they speak, which is why Zelda games still rely so heavily on text rather than doing voiceovers for every line of dialogue. Besides, what if Charles Martinet did do the voice and then the movie needed subtitles in Japan for people to get the real Mario? Man, they've been trying to make this movie for years by this point, so I'd imagine that they probably want it to be a little bit better than that live-action movie from 1993 that was rushed, although we all know that it's probably not going to be as good as Super Hornio Bros. Then again, I don't think anything ever could be. But if they want the movie to be as good as possible, then it makes all the sense in the world that they'd hire highly talented actors who know what they're doing. Plus, their star power making this movie feel like a big friggin' deal certainly doesn't hurt either. Video game movies used to suck, because they were always made by people who had no idea why the franchises were popular in the first place, but there's a lot more people in Hollywood today who grew up on this stuff and are some of the biggest fans out there with their finger on the pulse of the fandom. Plus, there's also the fact that Shigeru Miyamoto is personally overseeing this project, which isn't necessarily always a good thing, come to think of it, but in this case, I think it's another reason why they'll know what fans want, which is why they're not kicking Martinet to the curb altogether or anything like that. Right now, we don't know all the details yet, but apparently he's gonna be in the movie in some way just to honor him, because after decades of this one guy being the voice of a character as popular as Mario, it's just a given that fans would grow attached to him, and I'd actually be personally disappointed if he wasn't involved in any way. I just don't think it's the worst idea in the world that he's not the main star is all. But it's kind of weird that they announced this the day after I watched the first Darkwing Duck episode of the DuckTales reboot, because that show faced the same dilemma and handled it really well, actually. Basically, Jim Cummings was the voice of the original Darkwing Duck, which was a spin-off of DuckTales in the same world that also had Launchpad as one of the main characters. However, in the DuckTales reboot, everyone's got a new voice actor, so to play the nostalgia card right while keeping it fresh at the same time, Darkwing Duck's a fictional show within the reboot's universe. The actor who plays the character within the show is named Jim Starling, who's voiced by the real-life Jim Cummings. The same guy who voiced the original Darkwing Duck that we all know and love. Within the reboot's universe, Launchpad's just a fan of the show, but he was never actually in it himself. But then there's an episode where Scrooge funds a Darkwing Duck movie and casts a new character who was a diehard fan of the original show. This makes the original actor, Jim Starling, really angry, and he basically becomes a villain who tries to thwart the production, and the new Darkwing Duck actor has to become Darkwing Duck for real and thwart the evil Jim Starling. This results in an explosion with a bunch of chemicals involved, causing the original Darkwing Duck and his gear to change color and become Negaduck, who was also voiced by Jim Starling back in the 90s. This way, the original voice actor passed the torch to the new actor while also sticking around for the original fans, and I thought this was a really clever way to keep everyone happy. I have no idea what they're gonna do with Martinet in the Mario movie, but I'd imagine that it'll be handled in a clever way, just like DuckTales handled Darkwing Duck. The reason for that is because unlike the 90s, people who make video game movies in the modern day actually care. Because, I mean, obviously they want to make money off of sequels, and that's not gonna happen if the first one sucks. And look, obviously people are allowed to have opinions and prefer Martinet as Mario no matter what, but given how much care it seems like they're putting into the new Super Mario Bros. Movie, I think that we should at the very least give them a chance and see what the trailer's all about before making a final judgment. My only real complaint about the casting is that Chris Pratt's the main character, yeah, but for some reason they didn't think to give his father-in-law a role. I mean, just imagine how cool it would have been if Arnold Schwarzenegger voiced like Piranha Plane or something, I don't know. And what a missed opportunity.
I smoked the marijuana in the movie.
But anyway, let me know what you think about the Mario cast in the comments, and if you liked this video, then you should check out my big budget remake of Forrest Gump that I made with Steven Seagal. You'll excuse me though, I gotta go water my snake. Later!
So I want to say thank you to your loyalty. Thank you for your support.